in life you only have a few why moments, and they are pretty much this decision that will cater what the rest of your life looks like in a little way, which I know seems really intimidating. And usually I feel like I don't know when I'm in them. I know when I've made it past them, because I'm like, wow, how differently my life would have looked if I had taken the other path. It's why, not the question. It's like the shape of a letter where you're kind of walking on the same path and there's a split in the road and you can choose which way you want to go.
Hey, Heal Squad. We are back for part 2 of my conversation with Anna Sitar. If you're not already familiar with Anna, she is a storyteller, creator, all around inspiration on her massive TikTok community, and now me as well. In this part of our chat, we're going to get into pivotal why moments, not WHY, but why moments in life. She'll explain what that really means. The secrets she's learned for marathon training that I think will inspire you like they did me, and the power of changing your perception on health, food, and fitness. Plus, am I going to join her for her next marathon? You're going to have to wait and find out. All right, guys, I can't wait for you to hear this. I want to go back to your why moment because I want you to explain to people what you mean by the why moment.
Yeah, like I had a friend and I who talked about this, where in life you only have a few why moments, and they are pretty much this decision that will cater what the rest of your life looks like in a little way, which I know seems really intimidating. And usually I feel like I don't know when I'm in them. I know when I've made it past them, because I'm like, wow, how differently my life would have looked if I had taken the other path. But so it's why, not the question. It's like the shape of a letter where you're kind of walking on the same path and there's a split in the road and you can choose which way you want to go. And there's no right or wrong decision, I don't think. I wonder, there's a part of me that wonders if the universe knows which way you're going to pick either way, and that's why it offers it to you. Um, but for me, I think choosing to either stay in the career that I had signed, the 4 years of education that I had just done, the job that I had perceived, like I had 4 years of schooling at that point already. And I was deciding if I wanted to go back for 3 more years of school, move cities, remove myself from the relationships that I was in, the friends that I was close by to. I mean, it was like Michigan, which at that time was truly my home. And I thought that I was going to live there for forever, and kind of pursue this more unbeaten path that I wasn't really sure of. Um, but somehow that single decision put me in a room of people who had introduced me to social media and had introduced me to the LA lifestyle and had introduced me to, like, being more creative and being more self-expressive and not being scared to share what I liked and writing more stories. And then, of course we had a pandemic hit, and that only put a magnifying glass to what I had already loved, because now we all have the time to do the things that we love, and like kind of we're stuck at home. We're not really seeing anybody anymore. You're very alone with your thoughts in those moments. And it allowed me to really pursue what I wanted to be when I grew up, which was like a creative. And I didn't even know that that was, growing up, you're not really told that that career path is going to work out. I feel like that's why I went into engineering. My parents, I always joke about this, that all 3 kids in my family have engineering degrees first. Only one of us uses their like engineering degree as like their full-time job right now. But I have an older sister who did chemical engineering. I did mechanical, and then I have a little brother who did mechanical as well. And growing up, my parents always kind of joked like, oh, we didn't get asked what we wanted to be when we grew up. We got asked what engineer we were going to be when we grew up, because we knew that it was like a really strong, stable career path. And I think too, with this why moment, it's like, I'm really glad, even though I was scared to do it, because I was like, oh, I hope I like it. But my favorite class was calculus growing up, which is insane. But like, that's how I kind of knew I think I might like engineering. I could always go back to that degree. You can always take a step backwards. You can always like return back. If I didn't like my first year of grad school and I was like, oh, I made a mistake, I could have easily moved back to Michigan. I made great contacts. Don't sever any bridges. Don't like cut things off horribly when you're changing paths. But like, I have confidence that I could have applied to another job back at the same, even at the same company that I worked at before, because I knew that I did love it. Um, and I could have returned back to where I was and been like, I tried that and I'm glad I did, but it wasn't for me. And there's nothing wrong with, I think it's, if anything, it's an ego thing. If you're worried that like going back to what you initially loved is like a negative, it's never a negative. It's, your life is really only about being happy. So I always recommend taking the risk when it comes to the chance to, and also living somewhere different than you grew up. I think I didn't know that was something that I would value so much, but it completely changed my perspective. Like moving out of my small hometown and trying somewhere in a bigger city was even beyond Kalamazoo too, where I went to college. Like getting to move to California and live in LA and experience so many more people and different foods and different cultures, and like where everyone grew up so differently, and what kind of school did they go to, and what cities did they live in, and how did they travel when they were growing up. Like it's incredible to get to have all those experiences. So I think without that why moment and without that risk that I took, I wouldn't have had all of this other foundation to build on for how I wanted to live my own life and maybe my how I would want to raise my kids growing up and all the things in the future too.
Yeah. I mean, I think we also get so stuck on, it's supposed to be like this, and I made this decision, and now I got to stick with it. You can change your mind at any time on anything for any reason, but we
Yeah.
don't think we can. We don't really give ourselves that permission.
Yeah, it's so funny because I feel like me and my girlfriends always laugh about this. I'm 27 now, and I feel like when I grew up in a small town, it was like, okay, so I'm gonna get married at 22, fresh out of college. I'm gonna have my first baby at 24, and then I'm gonna be like moved into a house and like settled into my like my life is gonna begin. And that's what I was thinking. And it's so crazy the second that like anything derails that like initial outline and like whatever you thought that blueprint was supposed to be, it all happens for a reason. It's all like meant to be. You end up getting to like live such a more exciting life. Also, I'm like realizing as I get older how long life is. Like there's so much opportunity. There's so many things you can do. Like life is so long and there's so many fun things to like experience versus like rushing the process of like these different life milestones that everybody thinks that they have to hit to like be doing a good job or to be successful or to, like level up. I mean, when I open Instagram, I feel like all I see right now are engagements and babies. And I'm so excited for everyone's era of life that they're in and that they're getting to experience that now. But I know that's going to come from me, even if it's not happening equivalently with everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to hear someone of your generation think that they're going to get married that early and have kids that early. Cause I feel like my generation and even maybe the one below was always like, oh my God, I have plenty of time. I have plenty of time. And we all just waited and waited and waited. Did you guys watch us wait too long? And is that why you wanted to start earlier?
Oh, I don't know. I've never really thought about that. I think that mine comes from, did you grow up in a small town at all?
I mean, I don't think it was a small town. There were like 55,000 people that lived there. How many
Okay.
people lived in your town?
Like 7,000.
That's a lot smaller.
So it's like super small. So I feel like in my town, truthfully, there's a little bit of like a crossover here. I think that it's like I feel like a lot of my town grew up with like either like Catholic or very Christian views. And so that I feel like really instills that like your like greatest decision you're ever going to make is who you're going to marry and like
Hmm.
that kind of ideal. So I think that there's like a little bit of that in a more traditional sense, not in what I know Christianity to be now. But so I think like a little bit of that and also like my parents got married really young. I feel like all the kids in my hometown had parents who got married to people that they either went to high school with or like met in college and they moved back to their hometown. Like I have trouble thinking of a friend who didn't meet a parent whose parents didn't meet either in the hometown or like in a university school outside of that and then come back to the hometown and all got married
Hmm.
like fresh out of college.
Yeah.
I think it's like,
Well, it's that mentality of like, that's what life is. Like my dad always used to say, Maria, life is about marriage and the kids. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
yeah,
But
exactly.
it's funny on the other side of it. I didn't believe it then, but now on the other side of everything, having achieved, so many things and
Yeah.
then now just having a baby, I'm like, oh, he's right.
He was right. No, I have my
Oh
mom is from
shit.
Poland. And so like my mom literally, if you ask my mom any question, like, what did you want to be when you grew up? She will always tell this story that she was like, when I was in kindergarten, my teacher asked all of us this. And so we wrote down what we wanted to be, and everybody said firefighter and police officer and teacher and doctor. And I wrote mother on mine. I knew since the
Oh.
beginning that I wanted to be a mom. And that's like literally, I know that that's my mom's purpose. Even now, like we're all waiting for her to be a
Yeah.
grandma. And it's like the cutest thing to see her like she also ended up being the one in the family to start a small business and like has this incredible business that she's built. But like she's the same way where she's like at the root of it all, it's all about the family. My mom and dad always joke, they're like, oh, I wish my dad told my mom like we're done having kids after 3, but he's like, oh, now I regret, I wish we had 5 more. Like they joke about it all the time and they're like, it's just so much fun.
Oh.
It's so much fun raising kids. So,
It
you know,
really is. Okay, so
yeah,
now you're 27, you're crushing your career. I think, by the way, your engineering degree is going to come in handy in your career. I think you're going to build
I think so
stuff.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll
But
come in handy more than I'm expecting in like future projects and when I do really want to I really want to at some point go back into like more of that traditional media and doing like film and television and writing and directing. I think there's like a little bit of a mind where I have a different perspective because of that and ways that I see how things work out and how things plan and all of that. So I hope that it comes in handy during those processes.
I think that's really cool. So then when you think about marriage and kids, what do you think about now?
Yeah. I honestly, I think up until maybe like I think I don't know if you had this when you were 27 where you're like, I'm not having kids. I feel like once you pass like the certain younger age, I'm like, maybe I won't have any kids. Like maybe I'll wait. Like, I don't know. I definitely could see myself being married and having kids, but I definitely feel like I'm very much in my career era right now. Like I just feel myself like with so many things that I still want to achieve, I really want to get into the acting space and into the writing and into the directing. And I look so forward to like getting to have children, but I also know that like I want to be really present once I do. And it kind of like scares me that I wouldn't, and I don't mean this like maybe I mean this a little bit selfishly, but like they would become my top priority and I wouldn't be able to prioritize myself anymore as much, I don't think. And so I know that while I have this freedom, I'm gonna keep prioritizing myself. And then
Yeah.
one day they're gonna come and they're gonna be like probably sick of me within the first year of birth. And but they're gonna be the top priority and I'm gonna put everything that I have and love and cherish into them. So yeah.
I
What
think
did you
that's
think about
fair.
having kids? What was that
What was
process
it?
for you? I said, what did you think about having kids? Because I know you have a daughter, right? You have a daughter right now.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I thought the same thing. I thought I'd have kids at 25, and then this whole career happened. And then I was like, oh, and then I was with my husband since I've been 19. We've been together for 27
That's so
years,
sweet.
forever.
I love.
But I think that we got, into that tornado of just everything happening and just doing stuff. And we were kind of like marriage, like we're married in our hearts. We don't need a marriage
Mhm.
certificate. And then we ended up getting married when my mom got sick, and it changed everything. And I was like
Really?
never expecting it to change anything, but it was like a flood of love came at us. It was so awesome. And it connected us even deeper, which again, I could never think because we had been together for 20 years and what would
Yeah.
that do? But it did. The kid thing took almost 10 years because I think the pill really, well, I know the pill really suppressed my system because when I went to get checked, they're like, you can't have kids. And I was like, I don't believe that. And so I did some acupuncture, I got off the pill, and then my system came back, but then I still wasn't getting pregnant. And then we
Hmm.
found out I had a brain tumor. And so
Oh,
I had brain surgery. And then the doctor was like, you can't get pregnant because hormones grow things. There's an idea that there's a connection. So we don't want to risk it with you because they couldn't get the whole brain tumor out. All right. So then it was less about me trying to get pregnant and more about finding a surrogate. But, even through the journey, I was still a little scared.
yeah.
And I was mostly scared to have like a bad kid.
Like, like that you want to have like a baby that sleeps through the night or like
No, Anna, worse. I was
worse.
like, Saddam Hussein had a mom. Osama bin
Oh
Laden
my
had a
God.
mom. What if I get the bad lot? And
No, okay, but you're such a like a wonderful human. I feel like that's not, I feel like it's all about the environment. I think that the environment has a huge impact.
no, I know people from firsthand experience that were wonderful parents that got dealt a bad hand,
Okay.
a
To the
very rough hand. Now, maybe not as extreme as the examples I gave,
first.
but I'm like, and a lot of people are like, how could the same parents give birth to two kids and have them be so polar opposite? And I was like, I've had enough of it in my life. I can't do it. So there was always an element of fear in that
Yeah,
regard. Before that, there was a fear of like, how can I handle all of this?
that's like my fear too. That's what I feel.
And so, what I will share with you on the other side is you have to be careful not to wait too late, too long.
Hmm.
Um, and and so you want to, be mindful so the time doesn't pass you by. I mean, other people get breast cancer and then their treatments prevent them from being able to have kids. Like there's so many things that can pop up in the way, but whatever. The point is, when I look at it now, I'm so grateful Athena came when she did because it's at a point in my life and my career where I was able to pause and be with her and
Hmm.
enjoy her. And if I had had her at the peak of my career, we would have been two ships passing in the night. I would have just been like, hi, love you, goodbye. And then out the door, nannies would have raised her, which by the way, it's not poo pooing on anybody who has nannies. I have them too, but it's what do you really want? And that's not what
Yeah.
I wanted. I
Yeah.
wanted to be able to be with her and enjoy her and be a part of her day. my mom and dad would have raised her. And that
Yeah.
would have been fine because it would have been what it was, but I didn't want that. And so I'm
Yeah.
really, really glad that now I I have it this way. So I think you're smart to realize like where your passion lies right now and following that. And then when your passions shift, like mine, and you're like, you know what? I did it. I'm
Yeah.
good. Not that there's nothing left to do, but right now I can give my focus over here. Like my
Yeah.
focus has shifted over the years from career to, keeping my mom alive to getting through my health things. Now it's her. And, it might shift again where I'm like, okay, now I'm going to split my focus a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And now, like, I think it's amazing because then you have like an era where you can prioritize things like matter to you. I also feel the same where it's like I don't know when that'll be, but I feel like I'll know it. Like my intuition, my body will be like, the time has come. Like you need to either slow down in this area or speed up in this one. And like I'm kind of just like going with the flow as it is right now. But I agree, it's like it's tough because I feel like there is no right timing at the end of the day because it could be
Hmm.
anything. I'm like watching, you know, my like siblings get married or my friends get married or friends that are younger than me or friends that are much older than me. And so it kind of is always at like whatever everyone's individual pace is. But yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. I always just said, God, show me what to do. Show me where to go. I trust you. I trust the
yeah.
path. And
Put it
I
in my
have,
life if it's meant to be there. Exactly.
yeah, I did have a lot of patience because people in the surrogate journey and the IVF journey were like, how are you so patient? And you
Mhm.
see a lot of families who are like so desperate to start it. And I'm like, because I just know what's going to happen when it's supposed
Yeah.
to.
It's God's timing. It's not yours. Exactly.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I have to ask you about your triathlon training and your health. Like you're
Deal.
27, you've done your marathon, you love your
My
triathlons.
marathon is on Sunday.
Wait, but you did one already.
No, I have never done a marathon.
Wait, I thought you did the Santa Barbara one, you
I
said.
did a triathlon
Oh,
in
that was the
two
triathlon.
sprint tries, and I've never done a marathon. So my marathon is
Okay,
in
so
3 days.
what I saw you training for is current. Okay.
It's current. It's happening like in the next 3 days.
Okay.
I'm
Are you
scared.
nervous?
Yeah, I'm terrified.
So
Only
what's your goal on this one?
finish. To be able to jog the whole thing is the goal.
So you're not going to let yourself walk.
If I don't need to,
Okay.
you
All
know,
right.
like if
Do you have
like
to
if
put
I
Vaseline on your feet?
no, funny enough, my feet are like the most comfortable thing on the planet. It's my knees that do me in. My
Ah,
knees are
okay.
really like that's what I feel like I end up having the most pain in is my knees. I had it in my hips and then I got adjusted and now I feel amazing. And so I'm gonna go get adjusted one last time tomorrow and have him like double check all my joints. Um, but yeah, I've been doing like my brother and I picked up the triathlons, which was we did Santa Barbara and we did the Playa triathlon. We did two sprint ones, so it's actually shorter distance than the Olympic length. So my first one I did was really short. It was a 500 swim, a 6 mile bike, and a 2 mile run. And then the one I did in Santa Barbara or in Playa was a 600 swim, a 13 mile bike, a 3 mile run. And I just signed up for my first Olympic length triathlon in April next year, which is a mile
Cool.
swim, a 26-mile bike, and a 6 mile run.
Wait, so you're going to swim in cold ass water this week?
This week is like a real marathon, like
Oh,
only
no, this
up
is
to
the marathon, not
26
the
miles.
triathlon. Sorry, I
And
keep
it's
getting them
I'm
confused.
no, I know, trust me, I get them mixed all the time. The I swam for the Playa one in the free in both Playa and Santa Barbara, the water was freezing. I wore a wetsuit in the water. It was so cold. But my Olympic length one that I'm doing next year is in Hawaii. It's called the Lava Man. And then this one is also the Honolulu Marathon is the one that I'm running. So it's on Oahu.
Oh,
It's gonna be nice
wow.
and
That'll
cozy
be
outside.
beautiful.
It's gonna be hopefully like a really good scenic run.
So now at 27, what do you think about when I say, do you focus on your health at all?
Yeah, I would say I'm in better shape now. Maybe not than I was in high school and college. I swam really competitively in high school and then a little bit in college and then I had a partial tear on my ACL so I stopped swimming in college and kind of went down like trying to get more into like I feel like that's when weightlifting was really introduced so I tried to be more into like weightlifting which completely changed like honestly the way that I like looked and saw the gym. But yeah, I would say I worry about my health all the time at this age, especially.
What you just said was very physical. Do you think
Mhm.
about your internal health? Like, do you have any practices for your health?
Yeah,
Because you're talking to the heal squad here. I'm
we
curious.
have to talk about healing.
And I love talking to younger people and seeing what they're where their minds are at in terms of their health. Because to me, health is emotional, spiritual, physical,
Agreed.
mental, all of it.
Yeah. I think that like the physical health helps me a lot with my mental health. But this year has been my first, I'm probably at a year right now actually, that I've been doing therapy, which has been really, really great and like giving me such different perspective and just not even that I'm like figuring out things that are, I think what I was afraid of when I was starting therapy is that like someone's gonna tell me something was wrong with me or that like,
Hmm.
oh, like your brain doesn't work like everybody else. And I think it turns out like all of our brains work very differently, but like just that these different patterns are things that I can recognize and like lighten up control over, similar to like the control I for me personally, my like biggest mental health struggle is that I really like having control and I struggle a lot when I don't have it, like the opinions of other people or like if things not like things don't go my way, but if I like become anxious about what's happening and it's not something that I can fix on my own, I think that gives me like a lot of worry and a lot of like it takes a lot of mental capacity for me to like approach those different situations. um but so I've been like really working on my mental health and I think like creating a better balance on like the more emotional level between the work and the life, because even right now I feel like what really has really helped me lately is being in a relationship and having someone that like I'm working on this other relationship with, and it's not just my relationship with my phone and my relationship with my community. It's more physical, it's more outside of this world, it's more in this world, not in the metaverse. And
Hmm.
um yeah, I think that's like made such a good impact on me is like knowing when to put my phone down and try to be more present with my partner. And yeah,
I love it. Stand by everybody because I have to share with you our two biggest supporters. Macy's, of course. Holiday shopping can feel a little overwhelming. That's why I'm so happy to have my Macy's gift guide. They've curated the best of Macy's for all things holiday, and the guide is super convenient. You can search by price, category, or even style. This can help you guys find the perfect gift for everyone on your list, whether you're shopping for your family, friends, or even yourself. Macy's gift guide has you covered this season. So head over to Macy's.com/gift guide. Happy shopping, friends. And of course, if you're anything like me, you know that a great hair day can make all the difference. Today is not really my hair day. I'm about to have a good hair day in a minute when I wash this, but I do love Way. They make it so easy to have great hair every day, no matter what your hair type is. One of my must haves is the leave in conditioner. I spritz it on after my shower. It detangles, smooths out any frizz, helps keep my hair looking fresh and healthy all day. If you're ready to wash your way to better hair, this holiday season, head over to theway.com. That's TheOuai.com. Don't forget to use the promo code Heal Squad for 15% off your offer or your order. And then say hello to healthy hair. Um,
you're so amazing at
Anna.
that.
Oh, thanks.
You are literally so good
Well,
at it.
thank you. Well, I love them and I believe in them. So I think it makes it a lot
It makes
easier.
it way easier. Exactly. I know you mentioned
Um,
your lip oil, and I was like, that's a great one to mention. That's my favorite. That's in my wish list already.
the Dior lip glow
So
oil.
good. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, 15% off right now.
Macy's, I'm calling downstairs to order immediately.
So Anna, one other thing in the health world that I want to ask you about. So are you focusing at all on your like what you eat? Do you like what's your take on all of that
Yeah.
at
I
your age? I'm just curious.
no, I grew up in like an age of social media where I think like comparing your body and your wellness to other people was like top of mind, truthfully. Like I grew up in like the era of like the aesthetic Instagram girls, the bikini models, like wanting to be in my like when I was in college, I feel like it was like as thin as possible, truthfully. Like and like you still want to have like the long abs and all these things. And I think that created a lot of really poor relationships with food and with fitness for me because I was like, oh, what are these girls doing? They're running and they're doing abs. So that's what I must be doing. I must be running. I must be doing abs. Now, here's what's funny is I couldn't run longer than a mile at any point in my life until I started marathon training. Um, so I don't know that I was really doing anything to like really actually reach those goals if that was what I wanted at the time. But I think I had a really negative relationship with food because I saw like so many things getting fed to me, for lack of better words, that were about that. And now in my life, I think that I have created so much a better dynamic between me and food and between me and my fitness and like not treating going to the gym as punishment, but as something that I get to look forward to because it makes me feel better. And I feel better when I'm moving. I feel better mentally when I get like people talk about the runner's high and like when I've been training,
Hmm.
it's like the best feeling to like be running and not be thinking about anything but the music in your ears and how lucky you are that your feet are moving the way they are and that your body can hold you for this distance. And like, I think it's changed my brain chemistry and like how grateful I am to have a body that moves in the way that it does, and how quickly I've been able to train for something. I've only been training for 12 weeks for this marathon. And like the fact that my body has carried me through every long distance run, through every short distance sprint, like it's been amazing mentally and physically. And like the relationship with food has been astronomically better because right now with how much I train, like I don't really calorie count. I don't really I like am more of an intuitive eater where it's like if I'm hungry or I'm craving, I eat what I want in that moment. And like that's just how I feel my best. And like, it's I think the second you start limiting yourself and like what you can and can't eat, that's not saying that you shouldn't like portion properly. Like I'm still guilty of an entire batch of brownies on my own. I'm not even gonna lie about that. I think that like the second you start limiting me, like, oh, I can't eat this because I won't look good if I do. That's where I kind of start to get down a little bit more of a turmoil. Um, but with training, I feel like I'm burning so many calories. That's been actually really nice. Where I'm like, you can kind of just like I aim for healthier options like Sweet Green or Goop Kitchen or like a Granville salmon with those mashed potatoes hits different if you've ever been in LA and you need them. That's one of
Hmm.
my favorites. But with all of that being said, like I think that all, even though I agree, like health has to do with all of them, they're all so intertwined. Like one affects the other, affects the other. Like if my mental
Hmm.
health isn't good, I'm not feeling like working out and I'm not feeling like eating good food. I'm feeling like eating junk food. But then the second that I get my body moving again, I start to like see clearer and feel more creative and feel better. And then I want to fuel my body in a way that makes me feel better too. And so it all just ends up being, you know, all interacting together.
So if you couldn't even run a mile before, how do you advise the Heal Squad to get started on, maybe they're not going to run a full marathon, maybe they're going to do a 10K or something, but how do you
Yeah.
advise them to start?
It's so much more mental than you think it is. Truthfully, the first mile is the hardest mile. Once you make it past one and then you kind of start creeping up on two, you're like, okay, like this, I actually feel pretty good right now. All of the pains that I get start within the first mile and then vanish by the third. And then I'm usually good until like mile 10. And then I start to feel the pains again in like different areas. But the truth of the matter is it's like, especially with running, especially with working out, if you don't know where to start, go for a really good walk. I used to walk and run like collectively. Like I would used to set like goalposts. Like, okay, I'm gonna run these 2 blocks because I'm running in LA. So it's not really like I have like a good trail where it's uninterrupted. Um,
Hmm.
I'm like running that like rose garden at like the top of Beverly Hills between the flats and like Santa Monica Boulevard. That's like my dream run spot. But so I'll be like, okay, if I can run to this next light, let's run it a little bit faster, then I'll walk the next block to like catch my breath again. And when I first started, that's what I had to do. And then before you know it, you can do both blocks without having to stop. And like maybe they're slower, but there's something. And yeah, so I think it's like the baby steps are really where it matters. Just start with the mile. That's all you need to do. And then it actually gets quite a bit easier as you continue to add more to it.
Yeah, it's great when you hear someone talk about it because, like, we're hearing this triathlon star, this marathon runner, but really you started with, can I make it to this second street light? And I remember
Yeah.
when I was running, I was, running on my treadmill, what I would do is like, okay, you can quit in like 1 minute, just one more minute and you can quit. And then I'm like, oh, I kind of feel okay. I'm going
Yeah,
to
but
keep
like that
going.
minute wasn't so
One
bad.
more minute and then I can quit. I just kept telling myself that I could quit and then I never wanted to quit. And then I
Yeah.
could, and then what people say is true, like you said, then you get a runner's high. And oh my God, you're all of a sudden like
Doing the
this
most.
Usain Bolt just
Yeah.
going and we want to run fast and it feels so good. So now I'm inspired to, because I've been doing my walking stuff on my treadmill. By the way, my treadmill here I think is like 20 years old. It's so dilapidated. It's such a like hot mess. And then I was like, gosh, do I have to buy another Peloton or whatever? I forgot the Peloton app is amazing because it mirrors right onto your TV.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I'm on my old shit treadmill with my Peloton app, and I have my coach telling me what to do.
You're like doing this workout, you're like changing your thing. No, that's the I haven't tried any of that before and I need to. Like I have
Yeah.
become such an outdoor runner, which is obviously easy when it's like still 60 to 70 degrees outside.
Hmm.
Um, but I love like having a good view. So I feel like the Peloton app would save me the day with like getting to just have something else to look at than like the numbers on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's actually really, really great because also you can like just do a 15-minute run or a 15-minute walk.
Yeah,
So it's been really cool getting back into that. But I am really inspired to start the running again just because it feels so good.
it does feel so good. Are we about to do a marathon together? When's the next one?
Let's do
We'll do
it.
the New York Marathon. That'll be fun. That's a fun one to do.
I don't know if I could do a full marathon. I've done 10Ks. I think 10Ks are really fun.
They're really nice. Like I feel like that's a really nice roundabout where it's like it's long because it's still 6 miles, but like it doesn't wear you out for like the foreseeable future. Like I'm fearing
Yeah.
that I won't be able to walk for the next week.
Yeah, because I feel like it's hard on a body. And
Yeah.
so I think at least for my age group, maybe not as great, but I would love to do stuff with you, and I really like you. I think you're such a great spirit and you're so smart. So I don't know, maybe there is something to do together at some point.
Yeah. Next time you're in LA, we'll go for a run together.
Oh my gosh. I did that once with a news, oh my God, he's the war news reporter at NBC News. And I was like, I want to know all about like the war stuff you've done and the places you've been. He's like, all right, well, come for a run with me. I went
Walking
cold
and running. Yeah.
in Central Park on a 6 mile run with him. And he wouldn't let me stop. And I'm
You
like,
did the
but
loop of Central Park.
yeah, and then I ran right into, I think it was like the X Hill Spa or the Ritz-Carlton Spa, one of them, and I was like, "I need a massage right now, I'm
Like,
dying."
please, somebody help me with my legs right now. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
That's a good circle, though. We'll find a time. We'll find a place.
yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today and good luck on everything.